Road bikes have changed so much in the last 100 years or so, but the current development of e-bikes is perhaps the most radical yet. This is a brand new specialised Creo SL in range topping Bespoke trim, and some headline figures for you. Got a full carbon fibre frame and fork, got the Future Shock at the front from the Wheelbase, got a brand new battery in the down tube and all new motor, 12.2 kilograms on the scales, making it one of the lightest e-road bikes in the market, and a potential range of 130 kilometres with the addition of an extra battery giving you another 65 kilometres. Let's take a closer look at some of the details on this brand spanking new bike. Let's start with the bike, and it's a full carbon fibre frame and fork using the company's range topping Fact 11R carbon. They've loosely based the geometry on the Diverge Adventure gravel bike, but got slightly longer chainstays because of the motor and a slightly slacker head angle for a bit more stable ride on rough roads. You've also got the Future Shock 2.0 from the new Wheelbase, so that's a completely sealed, now damped unit with 20mm of suspension with a dial on the top to turn it on and off. You've got a full internal cable and brake hose routing. You've got disc brakes with flat mount calipers, and new for a road bike is the use of the mountain bike boost standard. That's essentially a wider axle than we're used to on road bikes. So out front, it goes from 100 to 110mm, and at the back, it goes from 142 to 148, using the same 12mm through axle diameters. The Bespoke bike comes with 28mm wide tyres. There is space for up to a 42mm wide tyre on 700cc rims, or if you're a fan of 650B, you can go up to a 47mm tyre. So plenty of options to build this bike how you want. Let's talk about the brand new motor and battery, because it is a brand new system, being 3 years in development. You've got the battery concealed in the down tube and the motor down by the cranks. That keeps the weight as low as possible for more stability on fast descents. The claim range for this 240 watt battery in the down tube is 130 kilometres. You can add another battery which fits into the bottle cage on the seat tube, and that extends the range by another 65 kilometres. Charge time for the battery, which is fully integrated into the down tube, is 2 hours and 35 minutes. Now you can't remove that battery to charge it up, so you have to take the whole bike into your house or have power in your garage or wherever you're keeping your bike. You've got 3 assist modes with a control module on the top tube there. You can have it in low, medium or high. You can also turn it off. As well as the control module on the top tube, there's also an optional computer, or you can hook it up to your smartphone, and there's a new mission control app where you can do lots of clever things. You can control in finite detail how much power and battery you have. There's also a smart mode which basically lets you choose the distance of a route, and the bike will take care of the battery and the motor and just give you enough power to make sure you get to the end of your ride with sufficient battery remaining, so you're not going to be left stranded in the middle of mountains with no battery. So that's a really clever addition. I see that being a really popular mode for people who don't want to worry about what mode they're in and how much battery or motor they're using. They just want to get on and ride, let the bike take care of the rest. With a new bike and a new motor and battery, Specialized says the goal wasn't to provide the maximum power and the maximum range possible. Instead, it tried to develop a system that complements your riding. The power delivery and the amount of power matches the riding you're doing in every situation. Designed to assist you rather than to let the bike do all the work. So you still have to pedal, still going to put in loads of effort, but it's going to help you out in a situation where you might be flagging, you might be struggling a bit. So it's designed to work with you, to help you, to assist you, rather than just to do all the work for you. It's certainly not cheating. The bike you're looking at here is a range-topping S-Works model, costing a shade under £11,000. And you've got Dura Di2 shifters and hydraulic brakes, and a Shimano XTR wide range cassette on the back and the rear mech, and a Praxis carbon chain set. Got a nice set of Roval wheels with specialised 28mm wide tyres, and an S-Works power saddle on a carbon seat post. Now if that's a bit too rich for your taste, then there's also the Expert and the Expert Evo, which cost £7,500. Now the Evo, that's a gravel version of the bike, and the regular Expert is a road bike like this one here with slick tyres. But that's enough talk, enough details, let's go for a ride. I've got Box Hill just behind me. I'm going to do a few reps up Box Hill and see what it's all about. So here I am riding up Box Hill, which incidentally, I haven't been up in a long time, not since I moved out of London. Been there a few times virtually, but not in real life. Today's been a lot of fun on the new Creo SL. First thing to talk about is when you have the motor and battery off, no assistance, it rides like a normal bike. Yes, a little bit heavier, but at a shade over 12 kilos, not that heavy. And it rides very well. There's no drag, not much drag from the cranks and the motor, and you pedal along quite nicely. So any fear about the battery running out and leaving me stranded with a really heavy, unrideable bike, pretty much proved unfounded with this bike. Well, I've got a few rides catching me up, so let's put the motor on and give it some beans. Here we go. Got the full power, basically riding like an idiot. Easy drop the ride behind me. Wind in my hair, flying along. Now, of course, this is not very realistic. You wouldn't ride like this all the time because you go through a battery in no time at all. Another issue with running in high mode is that you're going to hit that 25k speed limit a lot sooner. Okay, that's enough fooling around. Just stick it down to a second level. There we go. And that's a bit more normal. Now it feels like a normal bike. I'm still putting a lot of effort in. I mean, you probably see I'm sweating a bit, but I'm not flying along quite as easily. You can probably tell I'm out of breath. Definitely putting in the power. Well, that's the first ride on a brand new Specialized Creo SL S-Works e-bike. The first time I've been up Box Hill in quite a while, actually, a number of years. Done a few times virtually, of course, but not in real life. And that was probably the easiest and most enjoyable ascent I've ever had, thanks to this new bike. Now, a couple of observations about the bike. The first thing to note is that the weight is low enough and there's very little drag in the motor that with the motor turned off, you can ride it pretty much like a normal bike. It rides a bit heavier than a range chopping S-Works bike, like a Wheelbase or a Venge perhaps, but it's not so heavy that you couldn't ride it if the battery is flat or you just want to save battery for the hills. So you can ride along like a normal bike. The handling as well, based on a Diverge, so it feels very similar. If you're in a Diverge or a Wheelbase even, you'll feel right at home on this. Got a nice long wheelbase, nice slack head angle, and with the weight really low down in the belly of the bike, it's really stable and planted through the corners. I took it through a few fast corners just out of shot just now and it felt really secure. So almost a benefit having all that extra weight compared to a very lightweight bike that doesn't want to move around. You've got nice wide grippy 28mm wide tyres as well, there's plenty of traction and all the power of the hydraulic disc brakes. When you press that button and turn the motor on, well, that's when the fun starts. You've got 3 modes to choose from on this control unit. The first is barely perceptible, just enough to take the weight off the bike away without making it too easy. Go up to a second mode and you really start to feel it coming in. Gives you a bit more of assistance when the gradient picks up, like the latter stages of Box Hill. And when you go to the high power mode, turbo mode, that's when it really propels you along at quite a considerable pace and you can really get it motoring, get out of the saddle, sprint up the tighter, steeper climbs, and it really just makes you feel like a better version of yourself. That's how I felt riding this bike. I felt like the best version of Dave Arthur there is. I've had a really good night's sleep, really good nutrition, nice rested legs, plenty of on the bike nutrition, a bit of tailwind, and I was feeling really positive and confident and in an attacking mode. That's how I felt riding this bike. And I can imagine that would be a benefit of having a bike. You would never have those down days, never have those days when you're fatigued from a long day at work and did a hard ride on Sunday, you can't face the ride to work on Monday. With this bike, with a choice of 3 modes, you can choose a mode that suits your mood and how fast you want to go. The one issue with e-bikes, as you might know, is the 25 km/h speed limit that the EU have mandated for all e-bikes. Thankfully, the new Specialized motor, they've really worked on it to ensure there's no kind of cliff in terms of how the torque and the motor responds when you get to that speed limit. So a couple of times on this climb I was able to go above 25 km/h on the flatter inclines, and you can hear the motor stop, but you don't have a sudden dip in your speed and your power. You can just carry on riding through that 25k/h speed limit and just carry on going. So they've managed that speed limit very well, and it's probably my best experience riding an e-bike, because some of them you get to 25k/h and just dies, like the bike just goes lifeless, and it's a horrible experience. This one, You can go above 25k an hour and it feels relatively normal. I mentioned noise. This system is very, very quiet. In low power mode, you can barely hear it. You can have a conversation even in a high power mode and still hear your mates talking. I had a chat with a few riders up this hill and you can hear them. They barely notice I was on an e-bike, well, which is a good thing because I'm riding under embargo at the moment, so I can't let anybody see it. So the bike's nice and quiet. So probably the question to try and answer, and it's a big question around e-bikes, is who are they for? Well, in my opinion, I think e-bikes or e-road bikes like this one are for people who want to ride further, faster, increase their experience, have a bigger adventure, want to remove some of these limits and barriers they might have with a regular bike, and just want to have more fun. I had loads of fun riding this bike today, and to be honest, I'm going to try and do my best to get my hands on a bike for longer term tests, because it's not cheating, it's none of that. It is just great fun. You can ride further, faster, have more fun. If you're on a lunchtime ride, you can get more miles done, you can do more climbs, you can go faster on the climbs as well. So it's about enhancing your experience of cycling. And I think that's where this new Creo SL really excels. But that's all for now really. I need to go and give the bike back to Specialized. There'll be a full in-depth first ride and first look over on Bespoke Cycling. Put a link in the description to that as well. Make sure you hit us on our social media channels. Got any questions about the bike, put them in the comment section below. This bike be in store at the time of you watching the video as well. So if you've got any questions about the bike, phone numbers, email addresses, or just drop in store and have a look at one. The best thing is to come and have a look at it and see it for yourself really. You need to see the bike in the flesh because it is quite a feat of engineering. That's all for now. I'm going to bomb back down to the bottom of Box Hill and go take the bike back. But thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all again next time.